Welcome to the channel. This is Go Greddy, and welcome to the 2022 Gazoo Racing GT Cup here on Gran Turismo 7 tonight. It is round number 3, and we are at Le Mans in the GR010 Toyota Hypercar. And you need to stick around because I'm going to be sending it from pole position. That's right, Greddy is on pole. Lobby opens up and I am liking it already. It looks like my normal pure group of racers, so that is outstanding. That means I have somewhat of a chance to do well in this race instead of those crazy top splits, and I need to beat 250 points from round 1 to increase my ranking. So like I always say, the most important part of this race is to get out in front to start it. Best way to do that is to do well on the qualifier. Now here, as I'm leaving the pits, I'm all excited thinking about all the things I got to do, where I can't cut the track, and get my traction control there set up for when we go start the race. And boy, I just crossed the pit line leaving the pit. So I'm like, well, maybe I'm going to exit here and go back out. I'm like, no. I want to make sure I can get 2 laps in. And I know that I remember that the penalty line's way at the end, way down here at the end of the track. They moved it. So I know it's not really going to cause me an issue. So I go ahead and serve my penalty here on the out lap. Does not affect my next lap at all. Just had to wait on a gap for Santa Sousa here to go on by. Once he goes by, I kind of settle in, try to work myself between him and Hippie Nuts behind me. Just try and get in the middle there. So all important here to start your lap is to have a good chicane. Get over here to the right, down in the second, kind of angle it pretty well, get into third gear, but the back end kind of hops out on me, so I don't get a super start to my launch here at the beginning of my lap. But you can't let that bother your next big braking zone here after the curve. Get on the brakes before the total sign. Very, very important that you don't cut track here, but take as much of it as you can and get into fourth gear and power on out. So felt pretty good about the exit out of the Dunlop curves. Heading now into the S's. Need to get down to the left onto the curbing here on the left side. A little bit off my apex there, but I'm in fifth gear, power out nicely. Probably could have carried a little more speed through there. Drop down into fifth, get on the throttle, let the car push out. Again, you can't go out beyond those curbing there. You're going to get a half-second penalty. Avoided that. And now brake here after the 2 marshals with the red hats, about halfway between that and the 100 board. Get down on the curb and get far on the inside. I wish I'd gotten a little further to the inside and set up this exit a little bit better, but still crossed the first sector, the 102.665. Was super happy with that. But now the darkness starts to descend upon us. And this is where I start to struggle, as it's hard to see your curbing on your turn-ins where you want to put the car. As you see, a half-second penalty for the gentleman from me. Apparently he missed his mark. Get into 6th gear. Going to carry 6th gear up to about 188. Now getting on the brakes there, starting that curbing down into 2nd. Let it rotate, get back on the gas. And Santa Sousa goes wide there, gets in the dirt, moves over the side, and lets me by. I appreciated that, so I gave him a flash of the old hazards. Getting on the brakes here before that curbing, getting into 2nd gear, let the car rotate back up in 3rd, pushing out there through Indianapolis, now heading towards Arnage. Gonna have to try and carry speed through Arnage. I do so pretty well, and I'm feeling like this is going to be a solid lap. I'm thinking maybe a top 5 here, maybe. And then I get into the Porsche Curves, and all of a sudden I cannot see anything. I missed my apex there. Pushed through here because I missed the curbing on the right. Blipped the throttle. Probably shouldn't have, as that pushed me past my next apex, but not too terrible. I didn't get any penalties. I wasn't too far off my apexes. Was not horrible. Wasn't really sure what this lap was going to be like. So now I can get on the brakes here before that curbing ends. Looking for that turn in for that chicane. So hard to see in the dark. Cut across here. Have a pretty decent chicane. Not my best chicane ever, but I was pretty happy with it. Crossed the line with that 320.977. And honestly did not think it would hold up for pole position, but somehow it did. So I will take it. Putting it on pole to start this race here at Le Mans. And now here you'll see I'll switch over from the mediums to the hard tires. So those are the only 2 available tires we had. Now also what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change my temporary exposure correction. I had it at 0.9, moved it back down to 0.5, because when it becomes daytime I don't want it to be too bright out. So trying to increase that exposure level to help me see a little bit better in those corners in the darkness. So that's a little tip that you can use. So I'm going to show you this here, since you hardly ever get to see Greddy sitting on pole. I'm going to show you the first 3 cars in the starting grid here. Let's just see me sitting on pole position. Again, switched to hard tires. Mediums were available. And the tire wears 5 times. Mediums only went about 4 or 5 laps, and then they were just dead. So going with the hards for all 6 laps as the pit stop is 41 seconds. No way you're going to make that up by using mediums. Get the launch here. I've got traction control on 1. I notice P2 is starting to creep up on me, so I drop the traction control as I go up into 3rd and 4th gear just to make sure I'm not losing any more time as we're heading towards the Dunlop curve. Very, very dangerous curve. I get into it just fine. P2 gets pushed out wide, lets me kind of escape any trouble as we break through in to the S's in position 1, in a great position to start this race. Now look behind me, not everyone had such a great start as we're riding with Manny here in P6, and he loses the rear end of the car trying to start it without traction control. Don't know if he forgot to turn it on or just didn't do any launches in the car, but not a good start. Now this is an all-wheel drive car, but it was a slippery little sucker sometimes. Now if you look there where the arrow was, I've got a 0.25 second gap there to Crimson Wolf. So he is within a quarter second as we're heading down the Mulsanne straight towards the first chicane, well within slipstream. I thought for sure he would come screeching on by as there were not any real practice lobbies out there this week of practicing. So I wasn't really sure how strong the slipstream was, and I'll be honest with you, it really wasn't that strong. I thought for sure he'd have been alongside me before long, but he was not able to make up that time. So go down through the first chicane, pretty darn good. Come out in 4th gear, trying to pull away, trying to get some gap. Now I've only got 0.15 seconds to P2 as we're heading towards the second chicane. I thought 100% he was going to be able to come around the outside there and make a move, but ends up bump drafting me. So I was like, all right, we want to break away. I like it. Well, let's work together a little bit here. Crimson Wolf, as I missed my turn in because of the darkness, and then I come out slow as all can be. I was just so slow coming out of there. Crimson Wolf hits me from behind. Thank goodness he didn't get a penalty for that. I would have felt pretty bad. But he did not, so all is well as we head towards Indianapolis. He is really starting to reel me in here, so I stayed a little bit to the right. He gives me another little bump draft. I'm like, okay, so I move back over to the left, drop it down into the first curve there, get on the brakes hard, get down towards the curving on the left-hand side. Not the best Indianapolis I've ever taken, but not terrible either. Now into Arnage. Down into 2nd gear, come out the other side, and I still got a little bit of gap there. I've stretched it out to about 4/10. And he is definitely going to come blazing back up on me as we head into the Porsche Curves. I got to tell you what, it takes a lot of skill to stay this close to someone going through the Porsche Curves with the dirty air here in GT7. And Crimson Wolf does a really good job, and he's also not smashing into me from behind, causing me to go wide or deep into the corner. So he's doing an outstanding job driving in the slipstream behind me here at Le Mans. I was pretty nervous that somewhere a mistake would be made and he would just ram into me. That's part of the reason why I was braking late on some of those corners. I was a little bit nervous that maybe he was going to smack the rear end, but I tell you what, looking back, there was really no reason to be concerned as we watch here on the replay camera. Look how close he is to myself as we head through the Dunlop curves towards the S's, just right there. And this is in the dirty air in these Group 1 cars. So hard to stay with another car. Your turn-in has to be early enough, and you just have to be right on the brakes. Otherwise, just terrible things can happen. So again, hats off to Crimson Wolf as we go through Tete Rouge there. Look at that. Able to stay right with me as we come out the other side. He is right on my bumper as we head towards the first chicane. Get on the brakes there. Again, clean entrance as we both go through there, bumper to bumper. Just, that's top lobby driving right there by Crimson Wolf. So, again, tip of the hat to him. He did a great job back there in the slipstream in these first couple of laps. So, heading on towards the second chicane, reeling me back in again. I do a much better job in this chicane. I don't completely mess it up. 4th gear on the exit, holding that gap to about 3/10 here on the Mulsanne straight. Now a little further along in the lap, heading towards the Porsche Curves. Look at that, within 2/10. Is he gonna send it? He does not send it down into 5th gear, back up to 6th. Trying to stay on that curbing on that right-hand side. Missed it just a little bit. Swinging out towards the wall. Took that okay, not terrible. Then I push out wide. Now he looks down the inside, but unable to get the car in there. So a mistake by Greddy, but did not have to pay for it. Actually, I've made a couple mistakes, one each lap, but so far I have been lucky and I've been able to get away with both of those mistakes. Now coming into the chicane, I will make my third mistake here. Go wide into the chicane, get a bad exit, but he just taps my bumper and loses his momentum. So he's unable to go down the inside. Now he's got to think, do I send it down the inside right here? He does not. Instead follows me through. Now look what happens here as we head into the first curve towards the Dunlop curves. And I go through there nice and clean, but his right side tire hits a little bit of the black on the left side of the curbing. That is going to be a half-second penalty for Crimson Wolf. So all of that hard work to stay on my rear bumper, not exactly paying off, as I probably obscured his vision a little bit going through those curves, and he just couldn't quite see where he needed to put his tires. So heading on down through the S's here, I don't realize that he has got a half-second penalty. Piggy boos down the inside. I do not fall for it. I do not brake late. I stay with it. He's probably hoping I brake late there and go straight through the chicane, pick up a penalty myself, and cost myself a lot of time. But no such luck for Crimson Wolf. Now again, I have no idea that he's got a penalty. I'm not looking back, and so I don't see that he's got a penalty over. So I'm just looking in my rear view mirror, and he is all over the back bumper. He is just making me sweat on lap 3 here. Within 0.3 again, heading towards Indianapolis. Can I hold him off? As we're coming down here, you'll see he starts to really reel me in hard. You know, now well under 0.2, getting towards the 10th, and we've got a ways to go before the braking zone. I'm going to take the inside line, and he backs out of the move. Again, just keeps applying steady pressure to old Greddy. I am not quite folding. I have made a few mistakes. Got a purple sector there as we're on a fast lap right here. I'm out the other side, and as I pass this penalty zone right here, we'll see him fall off. You can look, that half-second penalty turns into almost 2 seconds. Absolutely brutal penalty zone right there at Le Mans. So now I have a little bit of breathing room. We've got a 2-second gap with 3 laps and a bit to go. Can I hold off the pack that's charging up from behind? Well, I'm hoping so, and I am trying to just take it easy through the Porsche curves, not do anything silly, try and just be smooth, be fast, and don't succumb to any of the pressure that's behind me. I'm going to let them try and make mistakes catching me, maybe push too hard through here and, cut a corner, get a penalty. I'm going to avoid penalties like the absolute plague and do everything I can not to get one of those ugly red boxes above my car. So on to lap 4. You can see everyone behind me picking up penalties. I looked at the replay throughout the race, and my goodness, you could almost not count the number of penalties. There were a lot of them being dished out. Here on lap number 4, I have a 2.8 second gap, so picked up a little bit of time. I'm holding serve by just keeping it clean and driving within my limits and my capabilities, not trying to push the car too hard. So here we are on lap number 5. That 2.8 second gap has turned into 3.4. Feeling really good about that. Now on to lap number 6. That has turned into a 4.1 second gap, and now I'm like, okay, I got plenty of gap here. All I got to do is not get a track penalty and not spin out. Like, very easy to do in this car, to get on the throttle, on the curbing, and spin the car out. Heading through the Porsche curves, probably the last chance for me to really do something silly, hit a wall, spin out, hit a curb, get on the gas on the curb, cause the car to spin out. Just trying to be as smooth as possible. I'm backing off the throttle here, heading down through the final Porsche curve, exiting out there, looking really nice. Got a nice 2.9 second. I've given up a whole second on this lap by just driving nice and easy. I came through the chicane. I just was like, all right, do not screw this up. I went about as slow as you can go through here. Come out the other side, get on the gas, head down towards the finish line, and Greddy wins his first GT7 Gran Turismo World Series type race, and I was so excited. So excited. Enjoyed that thoroughly. I was sweating my butt off. So good job to everyone in the race. Great job there by Crimson Wolf, putting the pressure on the first half of the race. And I really enjoyed that. Got 296 points, 4 short of 300. I really want to get 300 so bad, but just missed it. Anyway, Hope you enjoyed the race. Hope you enjoyed all that action. If you did, come back and check out some more. For myself, Go Gretty, y'all have a great evening. DJ Clean, take us out of here.